Hey, I'm Coach Mikki, and thank you for joining us. And if this is your first time joining us, come on in and make yourself comfortable. And for those of you that join us on a regular basis, we are so glad that you do. And I'm excited, but I'm always excited when my guests are here. But this woman is amazing. I had an opportunity to meet with her, and her mission and her what she has done and who she is just going to be so much fun today. So I'm excited to have her. So without further ado, I'm going to tell you a little bit about who she is and what she's going to be presenting, and then how you guys can jump in and also help her with some of her causes. So this is KathyBee. She is an award-winning singer, songwriter, producer, and visionary leader known as the Dream Maker, as the CEO of Touching Lives Multimedia Incorporated, and she is the founder of growing online community Do the Dream Team. She empowers dreamers to achieve their big dreams. Kathy is also an inspiring YouTube show, Do the Dream TV, where she motivates viewers to turn dreams into reality. So I'm excited to have you. Welcome.
Ah, thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, I'm excited to have you. And it's not just these things that you do, it's who you are and what you're doing. And we're going to touch on some of that because you have got submissions that are pretty profound. And the one that I do want to talk about is Footprints in the Sand. We're going to cover that in a little bit, so stay tuned. But also your million, I don't want to, Kathy, I'm going to let you talk about it because I don't want to say something wrong. So
It's 1 million voices.
thank
Yeah,
you.
1 million voices. It's a song for the Olympics, 2028 Olympics, because Los Angeles is going to be hosting the Olympics in 2028, and France just got through. They had the Olympics. So what the whole thing is, I love the Olympics, love the whole idea of it. And in 1984, I had an opportunity to go to the Olympics in LA when it was out here. And I was pregnant with my son. And I had final tickets to the diving event. And he came early, 7 weeks early. And I had to sell my tickets. so, ah, since then, I wrote a song. I actually wrote a song after that happened about the Olympics. And it was called The Torch of Love. Because I love the idea of the Statue of Liberty and everything that goes along with that. And now it's going to combine. We're going to have the people who gave us the Statue of Liberty, and they're coming here to hand us the torch. So that's the torch of love. I want to teach it in schools. We've got coloring books, just all kind of projects because I see us going to New York and France coming over with that torch and our singers, million voices of people, same place, not same place, but same time, and all over the country, singing the song "The Torch of Love." So I've got a quest. Yeah, it's a big deal to try to get 1 million voices plus a Guinness World Book of Records. We can make that too. That would be fantastic. Technically, I don't know how we're going to do it, but I know we can because there's choirs out there and people who would love to get involved in something that's about unity and peace and harmony.
I love it. And one of the things that you're leaving out is that you wrote this song.
Yes.
Yeah, you wrote this song.
Yes.
And that is amazing. And that's inspiring. And the fact that it's going to bring a lot of people together. And one of the things that you and I had talked about briefly that I think a lot of people are not aware of is that the Statue of Liberty is a gift from France.
Yes.
Yeah. And I don't think a lot of people know that, and I'm from New York, and I think there's a lot of people that didn't even know that live in New York, let alone the rest of the country. So to bring those two collaborations together is pretty inspiring. It's actually very much a great combination, and the timing plus the torch. So I know I'm going to put you on the spot because I've heard you sing it, and you've got a lovely singing voice, and that's what you do anyway. Would you be willing to share this song with us?
See if I can. For the torch is a symbol of love, peace and kindness to share for people everywhere. We bear the torch of love.
I love it. Thank you.
That's,
I know I put you on the spot. I didn't get a chance for you to warm up.
it's 1 million voices, so maybe singing too.
But it's the lyrics and hearing people sing it all throughout the country while this torch is being brought back to LA would be absolutely amazing. And you're right, there's so many people that could get involved. And remember, you guys, we're going to have the links down below where you can connect with KathyBee because I know this is something you will want to take part in. And we've got plenty of time. So this is a great time for everybody to connect and be able to take part. And of course, whatever I can do for you here on the West Coast too, please let me know and see what we can pull together for you. Uh, you have also have another quest journey that every time I talk about it just touches my heart, my soul, and this is something that I was not aware of. And I'm going to let you tell this story because this is going to touch all of you. I mean, and for those of you that know the poem Footprints in the Sand, this is just going to just touch your hearts. So I'm just going to give you the mic to share your story, Kathy.
Well, when I first talked to you about it, and when I first ask people if you've heard of the poem "Footprints in the Sand," and they'll kind of scratch their head and they'll go, "Oh yeah, the one where God's carrying the people because he thought he had to walk it alone and all the problems, and here God says that's when I carried you." And I loved that poem because I'm from a real small town in Ohio, and my mom gave me a copy of the poem, a little card size copy, to go on tour. I was going on tour, leaving the 500 people town and going on tour nationwide. We were going to be the opening act for Bob Hope, Crystal Gale, and the Oak Ridge Boys. And we were in a group where we were 45 minutes show, 5 costume changes, and we had to play 16 different instruments just in that show. Kept everybody, we had them entertained because we knew one song for that, instrument, like yakety sax on the sax. But anyway, so as we're at truck stops, that's where we ate because the truckers know where the good food is. And I'll tell you what, guys, when you are touring, you can't get sick. You can't afford to be sick. So you have to watch everything because the show must go on. So here we are at truck stops, and I'm seeing my footprints in the sand. I'm pulling it out, and there it is on the wall. They're selling it everywhere. And it says author unknown. So, okay, author unknown. I get to California years later, had my own group on the road and recording and got airplay, right, with my first song. And was in Oklahoma, where I was interviewed by um, Danny's Day. And it was a lady that interviewed me, and I'm trying to come up with her name right now. I'll think of it later. I'm 70. I'm going to reveal that. So sometimes we get those brain fogs. So anyway, I was on my way. So I had an opportunity to come to California and sing, record with the Steve Miller Band, his group. Their manager, their financial manager, we saw him in Texas, and he said, "If you're ever out here, don't ever say that to somebody. If you're ever come out our way, because I will show up. If you invite me, I'm there, Mikki. We'll do it." So I'm singing. I got an opportunity to sing at a place called the Palomino when it was in Hollywood. And as I'm singing, I got through the song, and at the bottom of the stairs, there was this lady. She just, "Oh, that was so wonderful. I'd like to invite you to come to my house for dinner." I'm going, and she said, "Spaghetti dinner." That's important, spaghetti dinner. So basically, I said yes. And when I got to her home that night, she had poems and plaques and all kind of stuff all over her walls. And I read this poem about child abuse from the point of view of a child who had been killed by her mother and father, child abuse to that degree. But Mary had been working in a hospital, and she was a nurse's assistant. And basically, she experienced that. And the little girl had said, "Mommy, if I'm good, will you love me and not hurt me anymore?" And this child died. So it touched Mary's heart. So she wrote a poem called A Little Seed. I'm reading this almost in tears, and because she had it in a plaque on her wall. And I said, "Oh, that's beautiful. I've never heard anything like that." She says, "Oh, you like that? Let me go get you something else." She come out with this great little box, put it on the table. And as I'm going through, all these written and handwritten and all kind of typed and things. I get hold in my hand footprints in the sand, handwritten 1939. And I'm going, Mary, Mary. I'm getting out my little thing out of my purse. I'm going, there, you got footprints. You got this old footprints. Where did it come from? And she said, I wrote it. And I said, you couldn't have because it's author unknown. You'd have thought I would have smacked her in the face. It was, oh boy, it just, how that, and I am so sorry. I don't know your story. She says, I will tell you my story. And I said, I will help you. I said, I'm a singer, songwriter. I know how to promote some things, but I will help you. And I meant it. I vowed. And so basically, since 1979, guys, Mary passed away in 1999 in January 6th. And when we were doing all of our projects, I'm helping her. I became pregnant with my daughter. Been married 5 years and nothing. And so Mary's helping me become a mom because I'm from Ohio. I'm out in California now. I don't know anyone. And Mary was helping me along the way and telling me her stories. She didn't just went bleh, as I needed to hear. And I wrote them down. I wrote our experiences down because they were so unique and so wonderful. And at one point, I never wanted to be that woman's manager. I'll tell you why. She's a free spirit. She loved people. All she wanted to do was feed people and help people and get them to their next level and encourage them, even though her upbringing was opposite. When she was 14, her mother had passed away, and the father tried to take care of these little kids. He was a stevedore, so he could make money, give it to the oldest one. And then he took off on the ship doing his job. And basically, they were from Chester, Pennsylvania. And the oldest one had to take care of everybody. Well, it was feasting time, at the beginning. And then the money ran out. And this was during the Depression. And it was famine. And these guys were starving. Mary said, I can remember her lining us up and giving us water to send us to bed because we had nothing. And when they would put tar on the roofs, the people called us tar babies. Now, she has blonde hair and blue eyes. They called her tar babies because those kids were up on the roof, grabbing the tar and chewing on it and eating tar off of people's roofs. To be that poor and that hungry. And I've always been a person who asks questions. My grandfather was a minister, and I would ask him so many questions. I was his caretaker. And one of them, And basically, I asked her, I said, why, Mary? What did it feel? Why? She says, you know what? I never, ever, ever, ever want to be poor again. I never want to be hungry again. So I feed and I help people. And she says, when I was 14, I was locked out of the house. And it was cold and it was winter. And I saw a cat walking on the snow, neighbor's cat. And I said, God, can you just give me something to write? Because she said, Robert Louis Stevenson was a descendant. Somebody in the family must have told her that, even though he never had kids. But when you're poor like that, you're going to hold on to anything. And she said, I'm a descendant of Robert Louis Stevenson. I should be able to write. And she asked God, give me something. And basically, she said, I got this in my head. And she said, I didn't want to be in the snow. I thought of someplace warmer. So I thought of the beach. And it just came to me. She said it came to me. God gave it to me. I just pushed the pencil. And it was footprints in the sand. And she said, people loved it. I wrote, it was the biggest. If you talk about going viral, this is a piece that went viral in the day when there was no computers and internet. She just kept writing a big chain letter and writing everybody, if you felt bad, here, and she said this to me because I'm looking at the old copy, right? Let's go back to her kitchen again. I'm looking at the old copy. And she says, "Oh, you like that?" "Eh, yeah." She says, "Let me make you a fresh copy." So she sat down, took her pen in hand, and it was the exact same words she had written when she was 14 years old. And that meant something. It's so strange. Yeah, you go through things and they're so incidental at the time, but later on, they actually mean something. Those words were given to her directly from God. I believe that's why it traveled and did what it did. I even spoke to a gentleman who wrote he made millions off of paintings of footprints in the sand. And I said, "Well, how did you get it? The copy of Footprints." He said a lady came up to him, and he was in, I want to say he was on the East Coast, and it was like Myrtle Beach, it wasn't Myrtle Beach, but was one of the beaches there. And she had a letter. She had a copy, handwritten copy of Footprints, and handed it to him. And he said when he turned around, she was gone. And he started painting the scenes of Jesus on the water. And he made millions of dollars in writing the poem Footprints in the Sand, author unknown. So all the years we got a book deals, and I hold this up, Powerful Prayers, because this was a big project. This was with Larry King, and the Larry King people needed to know that the poem was authenticated. We did that through a judge, and they put it in their book. And basically, we even got movie deals and offers, and but nothing. I said I was going to do a documentary about everything because I wrote a song, of course, Footprints in the Sand, to go with it, and a soundtrack of songs. And my daughter, who sings with Smokey Robinson, her name's Carrie Benoit Morales. She was in the music video with Mary and I when she's 16, and Mary was in it in her wheelchair, and we were in Seal Beach. And we did it. At the very end of the music video of the song Footprints in the Sand, Mary got up out of her wheelchair, raised her hands to the sky with along with the music. It wasn't even no one even. She just did that, and that to me is the end of the documentary. The music playing, the music video, and Mary lifting her hands. But in the meantime, people's stories. So it's not just the story about Mary meeting Mary. It's other people's stories. Like, how did you hear Footprints in the Sand? How did it touch you? And I've been collecting through all those years, you guys, stories of other people to do a collage someday of how footprints in the sand affected people's lives. Oh, another short one. Dolly Parton in her book. She was she was going, it's her book Dolly, and I have a copy. I keep these things too. She was going to commit suicide. She says it right in the book. And she says she read the footprints. There it was. And said no. She wrote Mary a nice letter about her first book. We did get her published, a Footprints book published. And then I wrote my book called Footsteps, My Journey. And that's those years that I spent putting this together. In Mary's first book, at the back of it, I was trying to gather people's stories and also said I was going to do the documentary. So there you have it. I'm going to do this documentary.
What is Mary's last name? What was Mary's?
Stevenson. And that's why she was always told they were descendants of Robert Louis Stevenson, the author. And if you look it up, there's no, he didn't have kids. But, you
Gave her
know,
hope, that gave her hope, and
yeah,
that's all she needed. I mean, sometimes I think we do that where it doesn't matter if you feel it and you need that. That's something that will keep you going. And for her, that was just the one little facet that opened up that door for her to create this amazing poem. And I know you're working very hard to get her name attached to this poem, because I still see it out there a lot of times. It says author unknown, and unfortunately I've also seen it where other people have put their name on it and taking credit for it, and that's not true either. Now, I know you and I discussed briefly because I know everybody's thinking, well, why don't you just get it copyrighted? Why don't you just get it, go to the Library of Congress and have it? And so, why don't you share why that's been a challenge to do?
Okay, so of course, that's one of my questions. My very first question to her, why? Why? Just because I'm a songwriter, and I said, get a copyright. She goes, well, when I found out that's something you should do to protect your material, she said at the time they wouldn't let you unless it was published. So how are you going to get it published if you and I'm going, really? And so I'm doing my research, and it was 70 something before they would let you copyright something like that as an individual. So that's all there. You guys, internet now gives you everything. But this was even before the internet. So I was living in libraries and calling people. So, and then I'm going, okay, well, let me help you because we were working on some projects and made a song out of that little seed. The Mama Don't You Love Me was a song that I made out of that little baby that died. The abuse, and did a whole Entertainers Against Child Abuse. And that was the first time, because we did that project, we were interviewed by the newspapers in Buena Park. That's where Disney and everything is. And basically, when we were interviewed, then we said Mary wrote Footprints. And that was the first time that they had put footprints. I don't know. This is a copy original of it, the Buena Park News. And they put in there the footprints thing right here over on this side. That's the first time, guys. So you're seeing a real old copy of what we were able to do. And it was because of the child abuse thing, recording. So it's a piggyback thing that we did. And I thought we were finished. So anyway, I said, because we put a copyright on that, I said, put a copyright on Footprints. She did, but still, that didn't keep anybody from doing anything because of clear back, and it had already been out there. And in my opinion, it put it into public domain. And public domain, there's so many years that when people are using the material and using it, it's in public domain. So she had no rights that way. So I was trying to develop her version of Footprints in the Sand, the original, and I come up with a trademark to clip on the bottom of it. Because these other people's versions, if you ever plagiarize something, or if you're ever a phony, I'll tell you what, you get so far away from what the original is because you're being creative and you're trying to make it your own. And if you ever read any of these phonies, that's what you're going to be reading. Because we had a forensic scientist come in and do research, took the original piece, and they had a team of people to come up and say, no, Mary's the oldest copy. She is the authentic person who did it. And that is my job now in this documentary to explain that. I don't want to go deep into it to get people to miss the miracle of Footprints in the Sand. It's a it's such a miracle. I was going in the and well, man, when Mary died, she was put in an unmarked grave. And that bothers me. So anyway, I was going through the internet. I always go through with Footprints and I have it logged if something comes up. I saw where there was a monument made, 14-foot monument of Jesus and Footprints in the Sand in Carthage, Texas. And I said, I got to go there. And I went. And it was like a year late. Nothing happens like this, guys. So don't even, just put your dream out there, work towards it. Because instant, I don't have very many things happen, except for Mikki and I. That was instant. So I went to Carthage, Texas, and saw what they had. And because I called the people and told them and wrote them, and they probably thought I was wacky. And the guy who was the sculptor, he said he was at a funeral in Shawnee, Oklahoma. This is where my band met. I'm from Ohio. I meet this band in Shawnee, Oklahoma. And he said, I read this poem. He says, that needs a sculpture. He said, that needs a monument, a big monument. His wife hated the idea. And they moved to Carthage, Texas, because he was doing a job and he was already making statues and things like that. So when he made this statue and I came there, I said, I want to sing. They gathered the people who had been responsible for an entire park to get, and these people were older than me, and I'm 70 now. These are like 80s and 90s and 100. And they were there. They were responsible for making this thing happen. And it's a beautiful park and it's open, it's free. And I'm going, why did you do it? He said, on my heart, I was told to do it. And I said, and they have a big thing, marble thing. It says Footprints in Sand for Mary Stevenson. So I'm going, oh, God has his way, don't he? There's 14. We couldn't have done a plaque on her grave that said that 14 foot and all of, she got a whole park. Miracles, guys, miracles. They all have been, even when she got sick and she was put in a hospital, and 3 months later, apartment, 3-bedroom apartment. Nobody had taken care of it. Nobody had helped her. Normally, I was an apartment manager and singer. I've always done all these multiple things and worn a lot of hats. And you're late a month or you're gone, their stuff is gone. You have to get ready for another deal. And I get this call from the apartment manager. She goes, Mary's been in the hospital. I said, yeah, her son was supposed to have been coming and taking something, and her daughter-in-law, blah, blah, ex-daughter-in-law. And she goes, we got an apartment full. She says, can you do something? I am in California. Mary is in Vegas. And she was in a hospital in Vegas. And at this point, they had put her in a nursing home in Vegas. And the lady said, I don't want to throw all this away. And my husband had been up to here with everything with me. He's a former drag racer, Don Hampton, wonderful man to put up with me and Mary. His is Mary stories. So I got in my car and I said, God, I got to do something. And I drove to Vegas and I said, I got to save some of her stuff. Because the lady said, please, please, I don't want to throw it away. And I'm there looking at this, going in 3 bedrooms of all this furniture and all this kind of stuff, going, oh. And a voice said, take a cart. She had a little shopping cart. It was part of her act because she's a comedian too. And I took this stuff, filled it full, put it out in the trash, stuff I couldn't take with me. And my next trip out, this older guy come up and he said, you know what? He says, we have a family that has nothing. They moved out here. He said, is there anything in there for them? I said, if you guys can help me, yes, she would enjoy that. So those were those things that to save her writings and save it has been, and put what in my car and then come back here. Now the tears, the hurt, there's been a lot. Finding out this lady that first found out put her name on it, that was miserable. And then back and forth. And the lady, one of them's from Canada, and it's been a big battle. But it doesn't matter about the fight. If you let go, they say let go and let God. That really means you let go of it off your shoulders, but you're letting God direct you. And so now, okay, so you said, Kathy, well, what are you doing now? All right, so I'm going, okay, I got 5 A's. I asked God, okay, what do I do next? And he says, I'm a writer. So when I say he says, it's not like you hear, hi, Kathy, I'm God. No, it's just in a spirit. You hear things. And so I'm to, right now, build an audience. And so how do I build an audience? I just going, okay, God, lead me. How do I build an audience? So the next thing I know, I'm listening to this lady who was a millionaire, and she was homeless before she became a millionaire. And I'm sitting in the audience, and I'm so excited. And then the first thing that lady does, and it was at a women's event, she gives out her books to everybody. Arlen Hamilton's her name. She gives out her books. And I'm going, she wants everybody to help. And I'm going, that's that spirit. That's that same spirit Mary had. And so I said, well, I'm going to follow her. I just kept following her. Couldn't afford for her to be my mentor until one day she did this thing what's called school, SKOOL. And you can teach over there. And I followed her to school. And then I opened up my own school class. Why? Because now I can build team, the dream team, do the dream team.
Well, I love the fact that you've taken everything that you've had an opportunity to be part of, and you've always taken it to the next level to do something else and something else. And your heart is you wear your heart on your sleeve. And some of the conversation that we had, prior, to this podcast, and then hearing your story and seeing what you're doing with it. You're such a gift, and to be in Mary's life, to be able to help her, have people understand who she was. And again, she didn't know at that time, but she gets this amazing insight and gift from God. And then it's taken people. I mean, here we are now in 2024, coming into 2025, and everybody is familiar with that poem. They know it. It's been known all over the world. And but for her to get the credit for it, I mean, is long overdue with that. Kathy, you're doing such amazing things, and I know there's going to be ways that people are going to want to reach out to you. So we are going to have all of Kathy's links down below. And if you're listening to the podcast, just click on Kathy B's name. You'll see it highlighted, and that will take you right to her website. And then it'll give you guys an opportunity to connect with her and reach out. And if there's something you'd like to do to help her, whether it is for the 2028 Olympics or something along with this documentary, please feel free to reach out to her. Kathy, I'm going to give you the last minute to kind of wrap it up. And then I want to have you back. I really want to have you back because we got so many more things to cover. We didn't even get a chance to touch on it. So I gotta have you back. And that's usually the way it goes. I have my guests on, and we end up having all of these things that we want to talk about. We run out of time. So what would you like to share? You got the last minute.
Well, I'll do this really quickly. And for Mother's Day, I am in a compilation book, and it's called God Winks for Mothers, and Squire Rushnell is the author. And my story of my mom giving me the footprints poem and me meeting Mary is in there. And he did a beautiful job. So that's not out yet. It'll be April 2025. And then the other is join me on Do the Dream Team, dothedreamteam.com, and come and be a part. It's a free membership, guys. I let it be free because I want to join. I am being, what do you want to call it? Dutiful here. I was told to build a team. So how could I not open it up to everybody? And then I have your Big Dream Fridays. So, and I'm going to be a part of, it's Keep On, let's see, what your group I've joined.
Keep on sharing.
Keep on sharing, and it's a fabulous site, you guys. You got to go over there. I'm new, so don't be afraid to be new. I'm just going to learn how to keep doing this and keep on sharing as well. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for being with us. So I am excited. Please connect with KathyBee. And again, everything will be down below or also within the podcast, her information. And thank you for being here with me today and sharing your story. And I will look forward to having you back. And until then, you guys, thank you so much for being with me. Remember, the most courageous thing you can do is be yourself. Until next time, see ya.